Howdy folks, Raging Raptor here and now welcome to a new Explained, and today it is about War Thunder's future technology event, which is right now running, and it's basically an Operation Suffer event, or something very similar to the Merkava event. I want to go today through the rules, the maximum you can get for free if you don't value your time, the time estimates, as well as if it is actually worth it to get any of those vehicles, and then some tips and tricks before we have a conclusion. So let's start with the rules, because there are some people still not sure how it properly works. Right now is the time of getting resources. This is from the 1st of April 13 GMT until the 12th of April 12 o'clock GMT. You can get up to 3 different resources in a game. The first one being materials, which you will need to craft components. This you get every 10 minutes spent in battles with an activity of 50% in game. Then every 30 minutes you get rounds, and those rounds will be needed afterwards for your ammo rack. And lastly, you can get parts of the Minotaur tank scheme, which are there to assemble together to get a booster in building the tank scheme afterwards. So the parts of Minotaur tank, which you only get if you're first place in your team, they are kind of not really useful. So those are the limits, which are limiting the amount of things you can get if you grind senselessly. You can get up to 40 of those material containers and 400 for the whole event. And from the rounds you can get up to 13 per day or 104 for the whole event. This is basically what is limiting your time or the amount of things you can get. And parts of the Minotaur tank scheme, the ones you get for first place, you can only get up to 200 for the whole event. It's important to note that the ammo rack right here, which consists of 26 rounds, can be gotten as a small chance in random games if you have an activity over 50% and if you play something which is ranked 3 or higher. I want to point out, I've played the Merkava event, which again is very close to the future technology event, and I didn't got once the equivalent to the ammo rack. And I did got the Merkava for free. So yeah, I think it is very rare to get the ammo rack. This is how this structure basically looks. You need to get 26 rounds to get an ammo rack, and then you need all the parts to build the Minotaur tank. If you did that, this takes a base time of 12 hours, and again, if you get those P1 or first place schematics, you can cut it down all to the time to 1 hour, and then you will get one of those orders. Get one order, you can get either the Su-76D or the Yugure. Get 2, you can go suck a dick. Get 3, and you can get either the XM8 or the F4F early. The thing is though, I saw a lot of people saying, yo, I got an ammo rack, why can't I proceed, why is it not working? Very simple. This thing right here, you have to completely grind through all the stuff right here. Right now, because I'm not that far into the event yet, you can see I don't have a lot grinded out. However, this is how the complete list will look like. All credits go to Max1727 from Reddit, which already did that. And yeah, there will be a lot of resources. I don't know yet what is the bottleneck, if it is the ammo rack rounds or if the resources themselves. Because personally speaking, as you can see, as far as I am, I'm still not fully there yet with completely calculating how much resources of which you will need. And I think this will be very important later down the road. So as soon as I have done all of this, and as you can see, I'm also plotting or editing in how many resources I got. And at the moment, it's average materials of 2.6 average materials in 20 boxes open, which is not that much. But again, I keep you up to date as soon as I have more knowledge of how many resources you actually need. I still want to point you out to the times. Right now, until the 12th of April, it is very important for you to kind of ignore the crafting and just continue playing to get as much time, game activity time, under your belt to get as many resources as possible. Because from the 12th of April until the 19th of April, so a whole week, you have time to do or like to craft and to get everything you need from the market and build everything in your game. So you have 7 days to get all the things you need, to get the orders, to build the stuff. That is very, very important. So again, I highly recommend to just right now focus on getting the materials and not really building. But again, that is up to you. Now is the question, what is the maximum you can get for free? And again, for free, depending how really you value your time. There's a maximum of 400 boxes you can get, or 40 per day, and a maximum of 104 rounds, and these are 13 per day maximum. And this limits your winning if, again, this is an assumption. I don't know which is the bottleneck, if it is the materials from the boxes or it is the rounds and the ammo racks. Because again, the ammo racks so far, I didn't got lucky to get one for free in the 2 events I've played so far. So I assume that those will be the bottleneck for the majority of the people. You need 1 ammo rack to get either the DD or the SU-76D, and you need at minimum 3 ammo racks to get the F4F or the XM8. And the thing is, if we divide 104 rounds divided by 26, you can see you can only get 4 ammo racks maximum. This means that the maximum a free-to-play player can get without spending a single dime into the game is an XM8, for example, and the SU-76D. The free order award and the 1 order award together. And again, we assume you are unlucky, you will not get any random ammo racks, and we are assuming that the ammo racks will be the bottleneck and not the materials. You will need, in those 11 days where this event is running, you can divide 104 rounds divided by 11 days, meaning that 9.45 rounds per day, and the maximum is 13 anyway. I'm going to round this now up, meaning that you need 30 minutes of in-game activity time for those 10 rounds. Divided by 6 is 5 hours per day minimum you would need to grind in those 11 days. And now we are in day 2 already, so you only have like 9 days left. I am adding a correction factor of saying that in 90% of the games, you will have an activity which is higher than 50%. So I was saying that you have an errorless time where in 10% of the games, you will not be able to get the time or the activity needed. So you're wasting time. So in total, with this correction, I'd say you will need 5 hours and 30 minutes of in-game activity time to get the XM8 and the SU-76D, or the F4F and the SU and the F4F and the Yugure together, right? That is a load of time. And again, this is not looking into queue time and PP time and stuff like that. This is pure grinding in-game. What is the more feasible way is to just say, you know what, the SU-76D doesn't really interest me, I just want to get either the XM8 or the F4F to sell it. So, you only need 78 rounds in those 11 days, meaning that you need 7.09 rounds per day. I am going to round it up now to 7.1 rounds per day. At 30 minutes, divided by 60 means you need 3 hours and 34 minutes per day minimum of in-game time. And with our correction factor, if you add this up, it's round about 4 hours, which you would need. That is still loads. And again, this is purely with the assumption that the materials are not the bottleneck. Now is the question, is it actually worth it? Here, I didn't play those things, I just have to talk from personal experience. And I would say the F4F is not really worth it. Why? It's a 10.7 plane. Yes, it has AIM-9Js, which can be paired with in total 3 miniguns, which is nice. The problem is though, this is basically like the SU-17M2, loadout-wise. It doesn't have a ballistic computer, and it is at 10.7 and not at 10.3. You do not have any countermeasures. You have RWR, but what's really the point when you don't really have anything to evade the missiles anyway? That's the problem. You don't have chaff, you don't have flares. At a BR, where you're basically going to fight against F4EJs, F4Es with AIM-9Js, and MiG-21 Bisses and Mirages with Magics and R60s, and you are in a plane which is fairly maneuverable, what I've seen, but you don't have countermeasures. Especially against R6s, you will have a really hard time. So BR decompression when. And the thing is, they are saying there will be an F4F late version in the German tech tree later down the road, which will most likely have the countermeasures. So the F4F early is in a position where you have to ask yourself, what's the point really? About the XM8, and this is also kind of a weird thing. This light tank is at 9.3 with a 105mm gun. The problem is, however, at 9.0 you have the Striker, which has comparable mobility, and an APF-SDS which has over 500mm of penetration at close distances. Here our maximum was 337, if I remember correctly. I really like light tanks, but that is kind of dog shit, you know. That is really, really not good. So last time we had the Merkava 3D, which is a beast, and now we have this, which is underperforming. But again, obviously Gaiji might be able to add things to it. What I've heard about people talking about the Su-76D, I don't know. It's apparently not that good. I can't really tell. I rarely play such low tiers, so I'm skipping it. And who is playing ships anyway? Let's go to some tips and tricks for the final part of the video. Again, this event is very close to the Merkava event, the strategist event. It has the same structure. It's very important for you to know that wins and losses do not matter. I've personally come to the conclusion that playing 10.3 or 10.7 RRB is the best way for me to grind first places. But again, this is my personal opinion, this is my personal way. And I have to say that, you know, it might be cancerous as well. And you don't really need first places. They don't really get you anything except for quicker building times later down the road. Tank battles are also usually better for game time because they usually take longer. Here, I saw some people doing a little bit of mean strategies, and that is to play at around 8.0, Canberra, T14s, IL-28s, and stuff like that. And they just bomb one base and then start to say, fuck this shit, I'm out, and then just space climb. This leads to you having to either fight everything else and then try to search them. This, on one hand, is incredibly boring, but on the other hand, as soon as you have 50% activity, you say, you know what, I don't care. I have a second monitor, I have a tablet, whatever, I have a mobile phone. I'm just scrolling Reddit, I'm watching movies, because you can't really do anything else, you know? So you want to kind of maximize your game time where you have 50% of activity. Yes, grinding events like this are bad, and they are boring as hell, but sadly enough, it's a valid strategy which can work and might be good for your sanity if you're not doing anything. Then, focus on playing right now, gathering the resources. Again, building right now is not the main focus for you. Making videos right now is not the main focus. You want to gather the resources. One important thing where this event differs from the strategist event in summer is you cannot build other resources from other resources. What does it mean? Am I retarded for writing this? Yes, I am. But the thing is, in the last event, you were able to, for example, you have component A and component B. You were able to exchange those two components, you know? Like I say, I'm now going to use two component A's to build one component B. This does not exist anymore. This is gone. You cannot build, for example, from two composite materials, one non-ferrous metals, you know? It simply doesn't work, which is kind of sad, as it makes you more dependent on the gaijin market, or the black market, how I like to call it. And yeah, the black market is, however, your friend. Like, seriously, right now, especially with this restriction, it really, really does help you. And it might even be worth it to get a tank for maybe 5 quids, because you just have to add 5 gaijin coins and to get the XM8, for example, which might be worth a lot more down the road. Lastly, if you have a job and don't mind spending the money, this is your best way. I know it is a free-to-play game, but those events aren't made for free-to-play players, let's be honest. Just grind. Those are grind events. You're not even able to get the F4F and the XM8. You can go suck a dick for that. You at minimum have to get in some money if you want to get both of those. So here you just have to ask yourself, what do you want to do? And here I just say what I usually say to people which are making World of Tanks grinding events. See how far you can go, and then start to decide how much money you want to invest. So for example, let's say you have 2 orders you're halfway done with one of those, with the checkerboard. So you might need to invest like 10 quids or $10 or something to get enough resources at the end of the event to get your way down into the last order. So then you have to say, you know, that sounds fine, you know, that sounds fine, I want to do that. Because in the end, the play might cost 80 Gaijin coins or maybe 130, who knows, depending what Gaijin is doing with it. Maybe they're pushing it down to 10.3, maybe 10.0, because who knows, you know. It's always a gamble in that regard. So you have to decide for yourself. So let's conclude this event. It's once again a grind event. It's once again an event which is not good for the game health, especially with 2 other events going straight on. Yes, the first April Fool's event are amazing and they have some very interesting mechanics being tested in. Might be worth to do a video about them as well because, you know, Dracowen. But I do want to quote here Spookston or Spookstone. I don't know how he pronounces himself properly, but I do watch his videos, and I highly agree that the problem with this event is, first of all, they're insanely hard. You are not able to get everything. Even if you play daily, 8 hours a day, you cannot get everything, which is kind of sad if you ask me, actually, especially in such Corona times. Second of which, it basically just opens top tier for money. I know you can't really see it because of the green screen, but this is a Swiss franc dollar bill, you know. And it's kind of sad because now we will probably have, after the game mode, or excuse me, the game event, we probably have quite a dip in win rate for Russian as well as German top tier. Because all the people are trying to grind out the F4F, you know, wanting to get the A9Js before they notice, oh crap, I'm still crap because I don't have chaff, I don't have flares, you know. And you will probably have a lot of jet noobs in this BR range suddenly. And I don't know, I really don't like this decision. I feel like, and again, I'm also having to agree with Spookson in this regard, I feel like it would have been a lot better for Gaijin's game health as well as the community acceptance to just make lower tier or like mid tier rewards, which everybody can get and are easier to get. So people just come to play the game, but they are not like insistent in pushing money into the game. I know Gaijin is a company. It's the same with Wargaming and World of Tanks. But somewhere you have to ask yourself, if you're pissing off 90% of your player base to make 5% make money and 5% spend money, then maybe it's not a good event, you know? But that's just my personal opinion. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know in the comment section below what I can do better in such videos. And if you want to see more videos like that, cheers and good luck on the battlefield. Don't forget to subscribe.